It was the summer of 2021 when Real Madrid had an agreement in place for Italian Juventus manager Maxi Allegri to join Real Madrid after the exit of legendary player and manager Zinedine Zidane. It was that same summer Sergio Ramos and Raphel Varane left the club after the pair enjoyed success together for many years. The season Ancelotti took over at Real Madrid saw a significant overhaul in the club's squad, with many new players coming into the starting lineup. Carlo Ancelotti finished 10th the season he was the manager at Everton, which on the surface looks like a poor season for the Italian manager, but the very following season, Everton finished 16th, narrowly avoiding relegation. After receiving a call from Florentino Perez, who called the Italian for guidance on who should be Zizo's successor after Allegri decided not to join the club, Carlo Ancelotti told Perez, "What about me? Have you forgotten about La Decima?" In this video, I'll analyze the impact Carlo Ancelotti has had on the current Real Madrid squad and how he shepherded in a new era for the club, which has seen the rise of the new guard and the transitioning out of the trusted players that have brought so much success to the club. When Ancelotti arrived at the club, he had to develop a partnership between a new center-back pair, Eder Militao and David Alaba. David Alaba arrived for free and was regarded as a top center-back, but Carlo understood early they complemented each other very well, with their varying strengths. Militao is a combative, powerful center-back that enjoys the physical part of the game, whereas David Alaba is the organizer, leader, and ball progressor. Before his ACL injury, Militao was regarded as one of the best center-backs in the world. Ancelotti has stated many times that he believes the Brazilian center-back is the best center-back in the world. You see, this is what Ancelotti does. He comes into a club, builds relationships with players, and develops harmony at the club. We saw Militao grow in confidence since the arrival of Carlo Ancelotti, adding to his game the cross-field pass that had a high success rate from the right side of the pitch to the left. Another player that benefited tremendously from Carlo Ancelotti's appointment is Federico Valverde. Valverde during Zidane's tenure was a box-to-box midfielder. One of Ancelotti's greatest strengths as a manager is putting his players in situations where their strengths shine. Valverde was never used as a wide player, but it was Ancelotti that started to play him in that role to offset the lack of defensive duties given to Vinicius Jr. Vinicius was pivotal in transition and was therefore instructed to defend less. Valverde's energy, pace, and defensive instincts meant the team could maximize output both from him and Vinicius. Vinicius was developed into a more clinical offensive threat. Carlo admitted that one of his instructions to the young Brazilian was to limit the number of touches in front of the goal, especially in the box. Vinicius under Zizo was a more raw player than the player we see today. Although it may seem that Vinicius' rise was inevitable, it's clear that Carlo giving him confidence and the freedom to play has elevated his game. Ancelotti's fatherly figure has helped the young Brazilian become the best left winger in the world. He's played more than 95% of Real Madrid's games under Carlo Ancelotti, all in the same position. That has increased his comfort in that role. Fellow Brazilian Rodrigo has solidified himself as a starter in the squad. He was deployed previously as a right winger, although his best roles are at the number 10 and the left wing role. Ancelotti integrated Rodrigo over the last season into the squad and depended heavily on him. Although he was used as a super sub in previous seasons, Carlo was able to find a system that better fit Rodrigo. He'd play almost like a second forward next to Karim Benzema. The last player that Carlo impacted and helped win the Ballon d'Or is Karim Benzema. The French striker took his game to another level after the departure of Ronaldo, taking on the goal-scoring responsibilities. When Ancelotti arrived at the club, he told Benzema, "I think you can become a 50-goal-a-season striker and truly become the greatest striker in the world." Benzema's best year was Carlo Ancelotti's first season in charge, and even the subsequent season saw the French striker far exceed his XG. The Italian manager coached 3 Ballon d'Or winners. When looking at all the individual player development Ancelotti has made since arriving from Everton and the increased output from Real Madrid's best players, you might think to yourself, is Carlo Ancelotti the best manager for Real Madrid? I myself have been frustrated at him since his arrival at the club because of the lack of patterns of play. But it's his fluid, malleable style that has performed well in the Champions League. The Real Madrid players seem to really enjoy playing under Ancelotti, and all the ex-players that played under him always sing his praises. With this season looking like his final one at the club, do you think Real Madrid should look to keep Carlo and give him the players he's asked for? If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Hala Madrid.